Hey everyone, Tina here. I went ahead and I created a video to combine the cast on method to making the beginnings of a dishcloth for you. Holidays are coming, so many people want to create, and this would make a great gift for yourself or for someone else. A housewarming, or just something for you to practice on to get your tension going for the beginner knitter. This is the part I've knitted, and I started the knitting of the garter stitch of a dishcloth. You can also get the pattern from the link down below if you would like to take the time to practice knitting along with me through the video, and you can also have the pattern on the side so you don't have to rush your work. If you'd like to look at my previous video for casting on long tail method, you can find the video over here. So let's get started on casting on, and then we will practice as we go. I made a little bit of a slower motion on knitting. If you feel like it's still a little too fast, please comment below and I can create a video with a little bit length of casting on slower or with the garter stitch a little slower. So please let me know what you think down below in the comments. All right, let's get started on the process of designing a dishcloth for you. Make a knot to secure it. Okay, so we're just gonna create a knot. All right, and then we're gonna put it on here. Okay, there we go. So now that we have our knot, we're gonna go ahead and we're doing the long tail cast on method. So what we're gonna do is take your fingers and we're gonna separate the yarn on either side. We're gonna pull it forward. We're gonna go under. So in between. So under the first one, in between. And then we're gonna go over. And then we're gonna knit. There's 2 stitches. 4. And I'm just kind of separating so I can slightly tighten the stitches. Okay. Doing this. We're going around. And then you're pulling it through. There you go. Okay. So what you're doing is you're grabbing these 2, pulling it forward. You're going in between. Then you're flipping it around through there, and then you're just coming back through there. Okay? And you don't want your stitches too tight, because when you binding off, you can definitely tell the difference how you cast it on compared to binding off. Binding off can get a little looser, which means it'll kind of shift your knitting in more, and then shift it out when you're binding off. Okay. So we're taking it in, around, through, and then slightly. Now for a beginner, you're probably gonna be a little more concentrating on the actual knitting needles itself and trying to figure out how to hold it and how to do your long tail cast on method. So what you would do is, if you're trying to figure out how, first of all, you can use straight knitting needles. Secondly, if you're using in the round knitting needles, just kind of let that loose. And when you're holding it, you just kind of lightly hold this your knitting needle, not too tight. Just kind of consistently hold it, thumb and forefinger, and then just kind of grasp it, and then just kind of lightly, I don't like how that makes noise, and then just kind of lightly, so you just kind of grab on without grabbing super tight, and you just kind of relax your arm, relax your hand, and just kind of, and if you need a break at this point, like just take a break, come back to it, and just go ahead and just come back to it. So what we're gonna do is take it, and then we're not gonna hold too tight here. And then we're just gonna, okay, go around. And then if you can't do this to tighten the stitch, go ahead and you can kind of do it like this to tighten on both ends. If you can't tighten it like this, just kind of, and if you're using round knitting needles, you can do like I'm doing right now. Kind of gives you a little more secure measure here compared to the straight knitting needles. It kind of sits it in place. I'm just doing that because I don't like the clackety clack. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna keep continuously, okay? And dishcloths are a really, really good way to practice your stitches for more basic designs as you go. And then you have something to use it for. And if you don't feel comfortable with knitting with cotton, because dishcloths are cotton, go ahead and use acrylic worsted weight yarn. There's a lot of brands out there, and you can make a swatch, maybe even a dishcloth size, or that's a good way to practice your 4x4 swatches, which are 5x5. And you can go ahead and start practicing your stitches with acrylic yarn. And then the best part of having your swatches, doing the little small bits and pieces, the best part of that is you can sew those squares together and make a blanket as you practice. And you can build those squares into a nice small, maybe just a couch throw, maybe a car throw, like a chair throw, like just something very basic and small to keep it practicing. And you could just practice over time and just make it whenever whenever you have the time. So you won't be wasting your yarn, and you won't be wasting, and then you can see, and the best thing too about having the blanket, you can see how your progression started, how your stitches started, how your tension started, how your tension went from, maybe it's a little looser, and then as you go, your tension starts to become the way it's supposed to be, just right. And sometimes it doesn't take that long to practice, and you will just flow nicely, and you will have your dishcloth. But sometimes the yarn textures really do make a difference. 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, and 36. All right, so let's go ahead and just start knitting. Okay, let's just start knitting. All right. What you want to do is you'll see how it kind of has an overlap. That's your knot. You don't want to go into the knot. What you want to do is go on top of it, and you want to go underneath it, and then you want to go ahead. Okay, and then wrap your yarn around it. And then on this side, you're gonna go ahead and you're gonna pull it through. Try not to have it splitting. Now for the beginning of the stitch, you might need to pull that a little bit. All right, so then you just want to continue to knit. And you can use bamboo knitting needles. Mine are all in use right now, so that's why I'm using the aluminum. All right. And then what you do is you just keep continuously knitting. So you just want to keep consistent. I pretty much use my thumb and my index finger to try to keep the consistency happening. There we go. So see how my tension is consistent? That's what you want. So we'll continue the garter stitch. All right, so we have a couple rows done already. See how consistent my tension is? Okay. So it's basically how you hold the yarn, how you hold the knitting needles. You just keep moving along. All right, so you just keep knitting the basic stitch. And if you need to take a break from practicing, go ahead and take a break. So I'm just going to continue to keep on knitting to my desired length. So just continue knitting. You want to knit continental. Just be sure that your tension is also, and once you get comfortable, you'll know what your tension is. Just knit continental. Then all you do is just grab, and then just make sure your tension is right on for continental. Some people have different ways of doing it for how they get their tension going right. pull it through, and then you just go ahead and pull it off. And that's all you do for continent. So you just continue if you're using the English method way. Just have in, around, pull it through. And I mean, there's other ways. I mean, you can hold it like this, and you can knit like this. You can knit this way. So there's different variations of how you can get yourself started and whatever feels comfortable. Just be sure you have your tension consistent. Just be sure your tension is consistent. Slip in, around, through, okay. Through. So we're gonna go in, crisscross, slip it around, then we're gonna go through there. So you're gonna move your knitting needle alongside there. Okay. And then you just keep working it. So once you figured out how to create your cast on stitch and your garter stitch, you can go ahead and stop the video, pause the video, or if you're interested in seeing me live and knitting, if you would like to stop by my twitch.tv/TLK knitting channel, you can, every Wednesdays I knit, and you can come on by, and I will definitely finish the garter stitch dishcloth on twitch.tv/TLK knitting, so you can get an idea and maybe knit along. Have any questions, please stop by and come and visit and we can chat. For the free pattern, you can go ahead and join my Discord. The link will be provided below. You can give me a follow on twitch.tv/TLK knitting for more how-to knitting. Thank you, everyone. Bye for now.